In the previous session, we discussed pollution prevention and control. Today, we turn our attention to a more profound question. How can we fix the damage caused by development and rebuild harmony between humans and all living things? This is not merely a technical challenge. It is about how we understand the relationship between humanity and nature. Over 2,000 years ago, the ancient Chinese philosopher Mencius offered this advice. If the seasons of husbandry be not interfered with, the grain will be more than can be eaten. If closed nets are not allowed to enter the ponds, the fish and turtles will be more than can be consumed. If axes enter the hills and the forests only at the proper time, the timber will be more than can be used. What he was really saying is simple. Respect nature. This idea of harmony between humans and nature, this pursuit of sustainability, is deeply rooted in Chinese culture. Like many countries, China's rapid development came at an ecological cost. Our demands pushed nature past its breaking point. We saw the consequences: forest degradation, endangered species, and ecological imbalance. We gradually realized that merely stopping destruction is not enough. We must actively repair and restore the nature we had exploited. This is not only to revive the beauty of green mountains and clear waters, but to safeguard our planet's health and ensure a stable future for the next generation. So, how do we put this ancient wisdom into practice today to restore impacted ecosystems? Today, through 3 stories, I invite you to see how China transforms this philosophy of harmony between humans and nature into concrete ecological protection and restoration actions. Our first story is one of perseverance across generations. Saihanba lies on the southern edge of China's Hunshan-Dake sandy land in the Inner Mongolia Plateau, administratively part of Hebei province. Its Mongolian name means beautiful high ridge. Centuries ago, it was known as the 1,000-mile pine forest. Sadly, due to overfarming, unchecked logging, and wartime destruction, the forest vanished. By the 1950s, the early years of New China, it had become a desert. The situation was critical. Saihanba borders the vast Hunshan-Dake sandy land. The straight line distance from Saihanba to Beijing is just 180 kilometers. Its high altitude meant sandstorms could sweep directly toward the capital. Back then, Beijing endured an average of 56.2 sandstorm days annually, with Saihanba being a major source. Stopping the desert from moving south to protect Beijing and Tianjin became urgent. In 1961, Liu Kun, then deputy director of the state-owned Forest Farm Administration, led a team on horseback through icy wilderness to look for locations for northern China's first mechanized forest farm. Just when they were about to give up, they spotted a single 150-year-old larch tree standing alone in that empty land. This tree symbolized hope. It proved that life could return to seemingly dead land. One tree today means countless trees tomorrow, Liu said. The discovery strengthened their determination. In February 1962, the Saihanba Mechanized Forest Farm was established. That September, 369 young people from 18 provinces marched into this wasteland. Their average age was under 24. what awaited them was extreme hardship. Temperatures dropped to nearly minus 44 degrees Celsius or minus 47 degrees Fahrenheit. Snow covered the land for over 7 months each year, and they had only 52 frost-free days to work with. To make matters worse, level 6 plus gale force winds howled through the area for 76 days annually. The bitter cold, constant sandstorms, bad food, rough shelters, and almost no medical care meant they were constantly falling ill. Their early efforts didn't go well. When they brought in seedlings from other areas in 1962 and 1963, less than 8% survived. That's why they kept experimenting until they figured out how to grow super tough saplings right there at Saihanba, trees with deep roots and strong trunks to survive the tough weather. They also made better tools and improved their planting methods to work much faster. Then came the spring of 1964, and everything changed. Imagine their excitement when 45 hectares of new seedlings hit a 95% survival rate. This proved they really could turn desert green. From that point on, the reforestation effort took off. Today, Saihanba's first-generation pioneers have aged, some no longer with us. But their spirit lives on across generations as an enduring legacy. Deng Baozhu arrived in 1973 as part of the second generation working in Saihanba. The old saying goes, "We devote our youth, then our lives, then our children," he said. True to this, both his sons work at the forest, the elder as a ranger, the younger as a technician. Today, the new generation builds on this foundation with equal dedication and smarter methods. Yu Shitao, born in the 1980s, moved to Saihanba after graduating in 2005. "No one hears about us forestry workers," he said, "because your work only shows results 40 years later." Through 3 generations' perseverance, Saihanba's forested area grew from 16,000 hectares to 76,700 hectares. Forest coverage soared from 11.4% to 82%. Once a desert, it's now a source of rivers, home of clouds, ocean of flowers, and sea of forests. And it forms a vital green shield for nearby provinces and cities, including Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei. In December 2017, Saihanba was granted the UN's highest environmental award, the Champions of the Earth. In 2021, it received the Land for Life Award of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. After more than half a century of effort, Saihanba finally got international recognition. Saihanba shows us that damaged ecosystems can heal, but it takes unyielding commitment, scientific approaches, and perseverance across generations. Our second story is about respect. Giant pandas are superstars of the animal kingdom. You've all seen their adorable faces. They mainly live in China's Sichuan, Shanxi, and Gansu provinces, with over 80% in Sichuan. But back in midsummer 1983, catastrophe struck. Arrow bamboo, their main food, died across vast areas. Meanwhile, expanding human activities were breaking up their habitat. Good giant panda territories got chopped into isolated patches, making it hard for them to find food, move around, or even meet each other. Along with giant pandas' naturally low birth rates and high cub mortality, wild giant panda numbers dropped to just 1,100, and that put them on the endangered species list. Today, though, wild giant panda have bounced back to nearly 1,900. Their threat status has been officially downgraded by the International Union for Conservation of Nature from endangered to vulnerable. This turnaround came from respecting nature and science. First, habitat protection became non-negotiable. Starting in 1963, China established 67 giant panda reserves. Then, in 2021, the country launched the Giant Panda National Park. It created a core protected area system spanning 2.58 million hectares. Inside these zones, the government strictly banned logging, poaching, and other harmful activities to protect habitats for animals to breed naturally. Crucially, the park connects Sichuan, Shanxi, and Gansu with 13 special wildlife corridors. These corridors now protect over 70% of wild giant pandas, allowing them to move freely across regions. This expands their living space, allows genetic exchange between groups, and prevents dangers in breeding. Second, scientists cracked the breeding code. Captive giant pandas used to face the three major breeding hurdles: difficulty entering heat, low pregnancy rates after mating, and poor cub survival rates. After decades of research, Chinese specialists optimized breeding techniques and habitats. Experts confirmed 40-plus years of persistent effort led to a historic breakthrough. The captive population at China's Conservation and Research Center for Giant Panda has exploded. The number grew from just 6 giant pandas in the early 1980s to 385 today. That's over half the global captive population of 757 giant pandas, making China's efforts the world's largest and healthiest breeding program. Third, China pioneered wild reintroduction. Since 2012, specialists have developed a training method. In semi-wild areas, captive-born cubs learn survival skills, like finding food and avoiding predators. Combined with tracking technology, this forms a complete rewilding system. So far, 10 captive-bred giant pandas have successfully returned to the wild. What's more, protecting giant pandas doesn't just save one species. It protects entire ecosystems. Giant pandas act as an umbrella species, sheltering over 8,000 kinds of plants and animals in their habitat. The national park shelters species like the dove tree, a living fossil in the plant world, and the Kindonia unifloral, a plant that thrived here since the age of dinosaurs 67 million years ago. It's also home to red pandas, snow leopards, nimboceros, tufted deer, Lady Amherst's pheasants, parrotbills, and other rare animals. Studies show the ecosystem services from giant panda habitats are worth 10 times the conservation investment. Beyond giant pandas, China's national park system has rescued 48 threatened species. Wild populations of rare animals including Amur tigers, Asian elephants, and Hainan gibbons are growing. Crested ibises, once down to just 7 birds in 1981, now exceed 7,000. Even the blue-crowned laughing thrush, previously considered extinct, has reappeared with a population of 300 individuals. Step by step, China is restoring nature. Its practice proves that committed conservation rebuilds biodiversity and safeguards our shared future. The third story is about commitment. Let me introduce a special animal, the Chinese white dolphin. It's the only marine mammal with Chinese in its name. And because they're so rare, people call them giant pandas in the sea. There are only about 6,000 left worldwide, and roughly 2,000 live in the Pearl River Estuary Nature Reserve. These pink dolphins have super sensitive hearing. Boat engines or construction noises can really scare them. Back in 2009, China decided to build the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge across this area. It would become the world's longest sea bridge. But when scientists saw the planned route cutting right through the dolphins' main habitat, they got worried. The bridge could block their migration paths, warned Zheng Zhaoyong, a conservation specialist at China's Ministry of Natural Resources. Bridge shadows might frighten them away, Professor Wu Yuping from Sun Yat-sen University added. When animal habitats get broken up, it often leads to extinction. Facing these concerns, the builders made a rock-solid commitment. When the bridge opens, the dolphins won't need to move. To make this happen, engineers undertook painstaking adjustments. They adopted cutting-edge domestic and international technologies to minimize harm to the dolphins, including boosting work efficiency and shortening ocean construction time to reduce marine impact. Crucially, they reduced the number of bridge supports from 318 to 224, cutting habitat impact by nearly 30%. Next came strict speed controls. All vessels were limited to 10 knots to make it easier for dolphins to avoid the ships. Most innovatively, they built giant bridge parts on land first before assembling them at sea like enormous Lego blocks. This kept construction pollution out of the water. But the most touching solution evolved, putting dolphin spotters on every construction boat. Luo Guocai, 34, described his job. If dolphins came within 500 meters, we stopped work immediately. Sometimes we'd tap the boat hull to warn them away. These protection efforts cost an extra 340 million yuan, making it one of China's most environmentally conscious construction projects. Then, something unexpected happened during peak construction in 2012. Dolphin expert Chen Tao noticed their numbers in the estuary had dropped sharply from 1,000 to just 500. Where had they gone? Tracking revealed something fascinating. These smart dolphins had migrated 50 nautical miles west to calmer waters near Jiangmen. This sheltered area is surrounded by islands and full of fish, so it became their temporary haven. Monitoring showed it hosted over 860 dolphins at the time, breaking all previous records for that location. When the bridge finally opened in October 2018, everyone watched nervously. Would the dolphins return? On opening day, cameras captured the joyful answer: pink dolphins playing between the bridge pillars. By 2020 to 2021, their numbers had bounced back to over 1,100, matching 2005 levels. Seeing them swim happily under the bridge finally let us relax, said Wenhua, an environmental engineer who worked on the bridge project. Today, the estuary is monitored 24/7 with underwater sound sensors, while special boats track dolphin movements. Scientists from Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau now work together using the world's first dedicated white dolphin database. China's 2024 White Paper on Marine Eco-Environmental Protection in China declares no casualty or relocation of white dolphins occurred during the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge construction, fulfilling the commitment to protect them. As documented in the report, continuous monitoring from 2017 to 2021 confirms the Pearl River estuary population now stabilizes at about 2,600 individuals, reflecting steady growth. As wildlife expert Li Yanliang observed, this is a textbook example of balancing development and nature protection. Today's stories review 3 essential balances China struck in ecological restoration. Balance 1: development and protection. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge stands as proof. This mega project could have destroyed the white dolphin's home, but builders designed adaptive solutions. Their efforts and the considerable extra investment paid off. When the bridge opened, dolphins played between its pillars. This shows development does not necessarily have to sacrifice nature. Balance 2: focus and synergy. Giant panda conservation is a great example of how saving one key species can help thousands of others. China set up a network of reserves and wildlife corridors across 3 provinces. This not only allowed giant pandas to mix and maintain healthy genes, but also protected the area's huge range of biodiversity. The strategy was to use this flagship species as an umbrella. By protecting the giant panda, they systematically provided shelter for more than 8,000 other species that live alongside it. Balance 3: human effort and natural recovery. Saihanba answered this perfectly. When it was desert, waiting for nature alone wouldn't work. 3 generations tested local seedlings and planting methods, boosting survival rates from 8% to 95%. That's human ingenuity. But when forests regrew, rivers, flowers, and animals returned spontaneously. That's nature's magic. We intervene without overstepping, acting when needed while respecting natural rhythms. Only this balance truly revives deserts. Today, we've shared 3 truly moving stories about life and hope. First, the Saihanba story. 3 generations spent 60 years creating an amazing green miracle. Next, giant pandas made a comeback. Wild populations moved from endangered to vulnerable. Then, the sea bridge story. Builders kept their promise to white dolphins during construction of that steel rainbow across the sea. To make these possible, China carefully balanced 3 important relationships: how to grow while protecting nature, how to focus efforts while getting everything working together, and when to let nature heal itself versus when to help it along. These stories prove something wonderful. Healing our planet is possible, but it needs vision, good science, keeping promises, and people working at it generation after generation. Now, I'd love to hear from you. In your countries, when you face similar tough choices like building versus protecting, fixing small areas versus whole systems, or letting nature recover versus helping it, what stories or lessons could you share?